My name's Dave Dubeau, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome to Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminsky, filling in for Dave Dubeau. And have you ever wondered how a CPA turned real estate investor skyrocketed from a single family home in 2016 to a diverse portfolio of over 60 doors across multiple states? Today, I have the pleasure of unraveling the secrets with my guest, the mastermind behind it all, Larry Pendleton. Larry, welcome to the show. Thrilled to have you here and to share some of your insights.
Thanks for having me, Bryce. Looking forward to it.
So yeah, I mean, pardon me. A lot of people get started with single family. Is that 60 doors all single families?
No, I can't imagine doing 60 single family doors. But I took the traditional route where people just start small and kind of build up to multifamily from that standpoint.
So tell me about your first idea of real estate, not the first purchase, but when did it get into your head? You're like, you know what? I think there might be something here.
Well, I've been a tax advisor for over a decade, and always knew the benefits of real estate for tax saving opportunities to investors. I just never thought I can be an investor. Had that limited mindset aspect to it. But I was fortunate enough to my partner with our tax firm, Terry Conyers. He's been in real estate longer than I have, through connections with his dad, and then he kind of pushed me along and gave me an opportunity back in 2016 of helping me build my team together. And then once we ran the numbers, that first townhome just made the most sense to invest into at the time. So that's how it all started for me there.
So, any sort of major challenges along the way that really stick out that maybe you could help someone avoid?
The aspect of thinking you're going to be able to do it all yourself. And I've really learned that really with my second deal, which was actually a flip. The first one was a single family rental. The second one was a flip, and try to do it my own, build my own teams. And as when you're starting off, you're counting every penny and trying to save on costs, and you may not be doing this proper due diligence. And that ended up, unfortunately, I had investors in that deal and everyone got their money back, but I ended up losing money myself. So that aspect of like is best to kind of go slow and build those teams, even though that like being eager to kind of get going is always out there for people, but it wasn't worth it in the long run.
Yeah, it can definitely be challenging to kind of let go of control. You know, people really want all the equity control, even when it comes to raising money. You know, they're like, I don't want to bring any partners in. I'm just going to grow slow and steady and use my own capital. And 10 years down the road, they have like 5 or 6 properties, and it's just maybe that's all they want. But it seems like unless you start either making a ton of money and buying a ton of rentals, like maybe you're a salesperson and you're just making a few $100,000 a year and you can afford to get into a few deals every year, you're going to have to start bringing partners on. So is that kind of the route that you took, or are you all self-financed through this thing?
Oh, definitely. All the deals I've been in, there's always been some type of partner involved, whether an equity partner or a debt partner. I mean, to your point, where it's like yes, can I like slowly do this myself? Like yes, but then you're kind of limited to, all right, you can't get as much financing because you reached the limit with traditional financing, and so you're getting into hard money and higher interest rates. And at the same time, you're taking on all that risk on your own. So I get why people don't like are hesitant to bring on partners. It's primarily because once again, back to just doing the due diligence. Are you picking the right partner instead of just going with the the closest people to you or people referring, like you have to know if that's going to be a good fit, and
Mm-hmm.
that goes a
Mm-hmm.
long, long way. I've been very, very grateful to be connected with some great people, or surround myself with some great people throughout my career in general, that has helped me build to where we are now.
Yeah, definitely. The right partner can really make or break a deal, just like the right deal can make or break a profit margin. I really do think though that the way you do the money can really make or break a deal. If you
Mhm.
have the wrong money, it could be a great deal and just gone wrong. So when it comes to real estate investing, what do you think your secret sauce is? You know, what comes easy to you that other people find difficult to do?
Uh, sh- I guess structuring deals from that perspective, and then bringing the right people to the party, as I like to say. Like, hey, we need the right
Mm-hmm.
the insurance person, we need the right legal people involved. Let's get the contractors in. That's just kind of years of experience of kind of knowing what to look for.
Yeah.
And that aspect of me, everyone I mean, I know a lot of good people who are good in putting deals together and making the numbers work. But it's just
Mm-hmm.
having that realistic view, like are we forcing these numbers to work, or do they kind of work on their own? And giving that stress test to those numbers to make sure, like, hey, worst case scenario, can we still walk away with this deal with our shirts on, and
Mm-hmm.
possibly, and obviously you still want to make some type of profit. So like, hey, let's make sure we're not even like we're stress testing to that point as well, that we're making any type of profit.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're bringing on people, bringing on other people's money. You gotta be good stewards with that as well. So that part is like, okay, let's get the right people in. I don't have to make the largest chunk because I'm trying to do this 100 times over. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad to take a small percentage of that many deals in order to build my portfolio and go into something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely not you know, like a lot of people get really excited. You know, they're like they look at the top line number. Like if it goes perfectly, we're gonna make all this money. And they don't really focus too much on the downside and like what if how much money is it gonna potentially cost me if it goes sideways, right? So
Right.
really doing both those calculations and you know, making sure that you stick to it. So where do you want to go with your business here in the next 12 months?
We're looking to shift more into new construction. We've done
Mm-hmm.
a few new builds locally here in Virginia,
Yeah.
and trying to expand that, acquire more land. So we go from just single plots of land build out to actually community build out there. We're also our focus has always been cash flow. Cash flow is always the ideal focal point for us. So now it's like, hey, now we're looking into mortgage notes, and then we
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
like we may not be owning the asset itself, but controlling the debt with a lot less overhead, a lot less risk involved in owning the property itself. Is the number two thing that we're looking for. So new construction, land for new construction, mortgage notes, and if there's opportunity to buy more multifamily, we'll definitely take a shot at it. But I mean, obviously, the pencils are a little more sharpened running
Mm-hmm.
those numbers nowadays with the interest rates with the way they are.
Yeah. I remember I found out about that whole note business when Eddie Speed was on the show here. He's a guy who's done a lot of stuff in the note space, and I was like trying to wrap my head around it. And then finally, I went and you know checked out his training and sat through it. And I was like, okay, it's like a tenancy, it's like a cash flow, but you don't have to take on the risks of the actual property. You're taking on like the mortgage debt risk. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a strategy that seems to come along with high interest rates that becomes more profitable when you have these conditions. So, you know, with everything you've accomplished so far in real estate, what's your biggest obstacle these days?
Um, really finding, I think that the note aspect has been the big obstacle now, because like you're communicating this to potential investors and other people involved, where it's so new to the average person, because we're always used to being the borrower. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, how do
Mm-hmm.
you really break that mindset so that they can kind of see it for, where like, no, we're actually becoming the lender.
Yeah,
So
being
this
the
debt,
bank.
this debt does become an asset to us
Mm-hmm.
from that standpoint. So that's always been the hurdle for me, is really the aspect of changing people's mindsets, even with taxes. Where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the tax code isn't made for employees. You have to like have to really like operate and treat it as as a business owner, as an investor, that who was actually made for, so you can benefit from it that way. But if you're taking people who are generations in or just thinking in a certain way, that's how they've been brought up through the schooling system, then it's okay, you're having to reverse their
Mm-hmm.
thinking, and it can become some pushback because people dig their heels to what they think has been right. It's like, well, we just kind of been all led wrong. Even myself, it
Mm-hmm.
was like we all have to start thinking differently. We want life to be different as well.
Yeah, I had a guy on the show the other day. He said after school, high school, and I think he did a little bit of university. He said I had been conditioned to think that I had to retire at 55 or 60. Then I met someone who was retired at 35, and it changed everything. And he retired by, I think he said he's retired. Yeah, he retired by 25. So he was retired and out, um, all because of that mindset shift. It's like we're conditioned, and then he broke the frame. He saw the opportunity, went for it, and yeah, good for him. But I like what you're saying. Break the frame, and explaining notes is complicated to the average person. They're like, "What are you talking? What are you talking about? Are we buying a house here?" Well, not really. So, what are you doing to fund your business these days? Whether it's notes, whether it's your construction.
Yeah, so I mean, all the money that we make with the construction, we're always reinvesting back to the business, and even with the
Mm-hmm.
tax business, like I mean, obviously we pay ourselves, but it's like okay, once family and our um living conditions are taken care of, team is taken care of, okay, all that money is going back into reinvesting in some sort of deal or keeping our properties up in maintenance from that standpoint. We are shifting away from hard money and trying to meet more uh, direct lenders or people who are private lenders, as you know, to get them more involved in our deals directly and be able to have more flexibility with our draw schedules and all that. So that's how we're getting most of our deals kind of funded at this point. Every now and then we'll get a hard money loan if we're just kind of scrapped for time or something new came up real fast.
Mm-hmm.
But private lending is our focus point right now, including our own capital.
So, what are you doing to raise money from your existing connections as far as nurturing them or conversations? How's that going for you?
It's going well. Definitely some improvements that we're since we're now diving into that space that we're trying to get a do better on. So how frequently are we following up monthly or keeping up with birthdays and all that, or just obviously anything that is potentially coming down the road, getting that
Mm-hmm.
information out there and seeing who's interested. So we're still building out that component for our internal. We've done with other groups that we're associated with, but just kind of having our own internal group of investors is
Mm-hmm.
what we're looking to start nurturing a bit better at this point.
Okay, and so what about expanding it? What are you guys doing to like expand your horizons as far as the opportunities to for new people that could join your business?
We're taking a more aggressive approach with LinkedIn. So
Mm-hmm.
we're working with a company now that is actually reaching out to uh, a lot of direct and indirect connections through
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn from a professional network standpoint, and really leveraging the tax business of kind of like being that value that we can add directly to people. And then we have this additional value if we try and build cash flow as well as probably kind of shift the company from just doing tax preparation to tax advisory and tax and investment
Mm-hmm.
consulting at this time. So that's the kind of approach we're doing now, just more of a aggressive reaching out to more and more people, special asset managers, brokers, and just general investors to build that network that way.
Awesome, awesome. So are you find the deal and then the money person, or do you prefer to have your capital lined up and then go looking for deals?
I prefer to like find the deals. It'd be nice to have like capital lined up, but also we know that like people aren't just gonna be sitting around waiting. So, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm always helpful to other investors who do have deals. May not be part of it, but I'll vet the deal myself and send my investors that way as well. While we're trying to find the right deals to put our names directly on. from there. So, but yeah, find a deal and then like I said, then start working with our investors. That's the
Okay.
bad thing
And
about like buying land in general, where it's like, okay, you can just sit on it and then like, okay, what's our plan? Are we going to sell the finances? We're going to build the sell, build the rent,
mm-hmm.
and kind of plan out that way, and then pick the right investors that we know can fit into that model.
Yeah. Well, the thing too, and that's nice about land is if you buy it, more or less correctly and not overpay in some sort of rash decision, doesn't really get much lower. Like it's not going anywhere. It's, maybe it comes down a couple of thousand in a bad market. But what you can do with it is always exponential depending on what you decide to do. So are you going to start building like multi-families? Is that the future, or is it all single family stuff you're constructing these days?
Until we're able to get like larger plots of land is single family for right now. I said, we're also getting more involved with the government side of things. Like I'm on the planning commission, my partner's on the board for the housing authority here locally, and
Mm-hmm.
what we're starting to kind of get a feel for like what do cities really want? Because you can sit here and say you're going to try to build this, but is the city
Yeah.
going to approve it? So it's not as clear cut that many cities
Mm-hmm.
want multifamily, even though
Yeah.
there's a housing shortage or affordable housing shortage, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But most prefer home ownership and just single family home setup until they're kind of forced in a situation to get multifamily in. But that would be the goal to kind of be able to build the rent multifamily
Mm-hmm.
and keep growing from there.
Yeah, that's always the thing. It's like, do you fight the city for what you want, or do you just build what they want and move on? And it seems like it's far more expensive to try to force your agenda onto the city because ultimately they just say, nah, no thanks. Nope. Build that
Yeah,
single family home. So
exactly.
when you're presenting deals to possible investors, what does that look like? How do you do that?
We'll have basically a pitch deck. Uh, maybe like I said, seven, 8 slides of the deal itself. I mean, they actually know who the team is, and then okay, here's are the comps that we're looking at. All independent, third party provided from there. Our strategy, what we plan on doing, and then timelines from there. So we got my partner, like I said, he was a Class A contractor. He has about three plans that he kind of goes through from a new development standpoint, and we just kind of
Mm-hmm.
pick which one will go from there. With the note side of things, is a little more a little more break down the numbers where it's like at a high level, we can just kind of break down, okay, how long it's going to take to make your capital back, and then what's the overall return on your investment, and as well as the yield as well. So we may provide like a high level like breakdown, but then we
Mm-hmm.
knew that's kind of lead into more of a one-on-one discussion to kind of talk that through to people from there.
Yeah, definitely with the note business is it's been around for a long time, but apparently it's only, from what I've understand, it's only really valuable when interest rates are higher than usual, because otherwise people just go to the bank. So, um, for people to invest significant amounts of capital with you, they need to know you, like you, and ultimately trust you. What are you guys
hmm
doing as far as, I know you mentioned LinkedIn, but what other sorts of avenues are you taking to kind of build those three up?
So I pretty much work with different mastermind groups,
Mm-hmm.
and prefer that because it's just kind of the close knit communities instead of
Mm.
just going to large. We'll go to large conferences as well, but like I said, we serve as sponsors as different masterminds and kind of build that network that way. I mean, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, but like I said, we're more so just kind of targeting like, hey, our professional network, we hit LinkedIn, and then we'll hit the mastermind groups within the other social media platforms as well, and get our website out there, or I guess my website out there as well, and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of show people what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely, because it's always tricky to find, there's no shortage of investors, but it seems like the capital is watching quietly in the background. If you're not sure sometimes where they come from, but if you're, putting your message out there and you're staying consistent, that it does happen. People do eventually step into the thing and start messaging you out. So, over all the time that you've been in real estate and doing all these business, if you had to start all over again, if you had to go back to the beginning, or even when you were, younger towards 20, what would you do different, if anything?
Um, I would have worked on getting a mentor sooner. Nothing wrong with like everyone that I started off with, would just kind of have someone that can really kind of like be that sounding board, who has
Mm-hmm.
20 plus years experience, like something like that, and really start that ball rolling on the capital raising and building an investor pool from there, instead of just trying to just kind of work the whole system. Or like I said, with at the time still had W-2s and growing the tax
Mm-hmm.
business as well. Like I said, those are probably the two things I would have done differently. Like I say, get a mentor who's like say years, decades into the
Mm-hmm.
business, and then start early on with having those
Raising
uncomfortable
capital.
conversations with people raising capital.
Yeah, the uncomfortable, like asking people for their money and get rejected, right? It's a numbers game on some level, and not everyone's going to be a fit. But if you can find those long-term investors and they want to partner with you, then you can definitely go a long way. So
I
with
forgot what book it was, and I read where it's like you have to see like you're not asking for money, you're presenting an opportunity for people.
mm-hmm,
That has helped me along. I try to make sure I keep that in the back of my mind when I'm talking to people. Like I'm not pressing. That's why we don't really like I say if the deal's there. Like we sitting on land that we bought years ago, but it's okay. Once we know we got the right team and the numbers are going and the construction costs get what we want, we're not really rushing to get anybody on.
mm-hmm.
So it's like, but we know what the returns would be. See if they're interested. We know our turnaround time and our construction. We got our budgets, and we'll go from there. So yeah, that aspect of I'm not asking, I'm just presenting opportunity for folks.
Yeah, definitely. Because you look at it and sometimes people, like, I've done a lot of wholesaling in um recently and in the past, and people are like, well, why would I pay the fee? And it's like, well, I'm presenting an opportunity that you're too busy at your W-2 to go and hunt this thing. Like, it's the same thing with capital. Like, you're busy doing your thing, making the money that you want to invest. I'm out here doing my thing, and together we can, take it, all of us can take it a little bit further. So
Right.
um if people want to connect with you, they want to find out more, they want to invest with you ultimately and start building some of this stuff, what should they do? How do they find you?
Yeah, like I said, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all Larry Pendleton CPA. They can also go to my landing page at www.larrypendletoncpa.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can see different projects, different communities that we're connected to, other podcasts I've been on, and
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to connecting to those who want to learn more.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by, Larry, and letting people know that it is there's opportunity everywhere. And I like what you said about getting a mentor early. Whenever I talk to people who've done it themselves, I always think to myself, I'm like, man, but if you had a guy in your corner, like, you're a star. Let's say this guy's like already really good. And you're like, imagine if he had someone to course correct him on a couple of mistakes that he could have avoided, how much further they could be along. But you never know, right? You never know.
Right. Exactly.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate your time, Larry. And until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.